that rock. Like, you know what? I just about hit rock bottom. So like, no, there's only one way to go now. So I'll get on my license. Time is everything. It's 1989. You guys are old enough to know what happened in 1989. So not only was I broke, and I couldn't sell anything because new in the market, I didn't know how to sell in that market. Limping around with one leg. My $700,000 home is now worth $3. A couple $100,000 in debt. Life could be better. Only if I could afford a bullet. But I couldn't, luckily. So I'm at home, moping around, and I call my buddy from England, who a guy who used to train me all the time. His name's Colin Jackson. He was #1 in the world at the time. His coach was the best in the world. So I was talking to him, and he said, you can get the impression in my voice. And he says, Mark, why don't you come over to England and train with me? And I'm thinking to myself, I know he was just feeling sorry for me. He just invited me because he's a good guy, he's a nice guy. But I'm thinking, what successful people do. He's the best, Malcolm's the best. So I packed my bags up, fly 3,000 miles over to Cardiff. So when I get there, Malcolm calls us over and he says, Colin, are you sure you want me to coach Mark? And he said, sure, why not? He said, well, he's pretty good at hurdling. And if I coach him, he might beat you. But Colin, knowing the value of teamwork, thought that even though Malcolm would make me better, it'll make him better as well. So I was faster and stronger. Colin was the ultimate technician, probably the best hurdler ever, technically. So he said, fine. So Malcolm takes me over, and he says, Mark, I want you to run over a flight of hurdles. So I'm sure I start the hurdles that I run, come back, and he says, Mark, you know when you hurdle, your foot, there's Malcolm, by the way, very fit-looking guy. He says, Mark, when you run hurdles, your foot is off by an inch. It's crooked. So I sort like that. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, I'm broke. I'm half injured still. I can't afford to be here. I'm all the way 3,000 miles to train with the best hurdler in the world, the best coach in the world, and you're going to give me an inch? I was expecting a little more than that. He said, well, actually, Mark, you take 39 crooked steps in a race. That's 39 inches. Anybody venture a guess on how far one they live the spike? I'll give you 3 guesses. First two don't count. 39 inches. Now, I was working with some of the best athletes in the world for 13 years. I was working with some of the best coaches in the world for 13 years. But nobody saw what Malcolm saw when he worked with the real best in just 13 seconds. He saw that. Just one run. 13 seconds. I heard say once that it doesn't matter how fast you run, if you're running in the wrong direction. I was running in the wrong direction for 13 years. I was off by 1 inch. 1 inch. Basically, I was running in the top 1% in the world for 13 years. It was like a ship with a broken rudder. There was nothing wrong with the ship. They just had to fix the rudder. And it's not like I had to do anything. I didn't have to work any harder. I didn't have to work any longer. All I had to do was think about it. Like, he just told me to move my foot, and it was instantaneous. It completely changed my life. So sometimes, it just depends on who you surround yourself with. It depends on your team. Like, I mean, here, from what I've seen in the last 12 hours, it's just like an amazing team. But in 13 years, I was running around in circles. I was hanging out sometimes with the wrong people, in the wrong team. Is it possible in everybody's life, in you guys' life, that there's 1 inch somewhere that you can find to make a huge difference, like just 1 inch? I mean, you have the right team. I've already seen that yesterday and today. You have an awesome team. Maybe it's collaborating with somebody here. Maybe it's not even work related. Maybe you work too hard already. Maybe it's family. Maybe you need more balance. Maybe you want to spend more time with your family. Maybe you want to spend more time with yourself and your fitness. We can all be better. We can all be better if we want to be depends on what you want out of life. We can all move to that next level. I know you guys, again, I said this, I'm not used to speaking in a group like this because you guys are already the cream of the crop. But there's always another level. One thing I've learned in 16 years of working with some of the best athletes on the planet, and more recently working with some of the most successful business people, executives, and CEOs, is 1%ers, you're driven. It's never enough. I've seen that. I've seen that in just the last 20 hours, in the last 24 hours, not even. It took me 13 years to find that one guy that in just 13 seconds found that 1 inch that completely changed my life. And today I was just hoping that there was something that you can get out of this. Is if there's a 1 inch somewhere in your life that can make a huge, huge difference. I said it doesn't have to take any more time, it doesn't have to take any more work, maybe less. Just you're already surrounded by the right people. But is there something, just a 1 inch that you can do to make a huge impact in your life? So that's my message for you. Again, thanks for having me down here. Try to get as fast as I can. I know I'm going to go lots to cover this morning, and I also have a plane to catch. Anybody have any questions?
Are you going to show us the way?
Oh, go back.
Speaking of your surgery.
I did. I had surgery.
Let's see them now.
Oh, I thought you were solved that already. I had the surgery in 8 days.
Wow.
And it did take me 12 to 18 months to recover before I went over to train with the column. Yeah.
We'll take pictures after we've done both talks.
I was up like Phil last night, trying to put my slides in order. Obviously, I had too much to drink. So I apologize for the mishap with the slide. Yeah, turn it right now. Right.
He has been
This is the actual
perennial Ultraland. Mark McKoy of Canada, 4th at the World Championships in 1983, 4th in Los Angeles in 84, 4th in the World Championships in 1991. He is in lane
See what I told you about 4? They should get medals for 4.
in the world, Mark McKoy in lane 4, side by side. They both know what the other one's capable of. Mark McKoy needs his patented blazing start here. He's got to be well on the way over the 3rd hurdle.
Colin Jackson beside him is the man who does tend to come from behind. He doesn't usually get to start like Mark, so watch for him to finish strongly the last 50 meters. Full start, and
It wasn't me this time.
I remember Seoul in 1988, Mark McKoy. He was in the Olympics.
My eye?
When one it would appear to be QET of Great Britain.
Now he is excited. That's an example of an athlete who's a little bit jittery here. He was so excited to actually have qualified. It was a long shot to qualify. Now he's got to collect himself because one other false start and he will be disqualified.
No official assignment of a false start yet. There you see it. Now official. QET of Great Britain. One false start. Mark McKoy of Canada in lane 4. Beside him, a man he eats with, a man whose home he stays at while training in Wales. Colin Jackson of Great Britain in 3. Tony Dees, another favorite from the U.S. in 7. Yes. And we all watch the first hurdle. It is McKoy, but it's very close. Mark McKoy of Canada leads at 50 meters. Now, does he have the strength to go all the way? That's the finish line, 100 to go.
slides. Anybody have a question now?
So you, are you now, like, you train, you're a personal trainer for individuals or just groups?
Mostly executives because I charge a lot of money. I'm trying to make up for lost time. Athletes can't afford it. You guys, on the other hand, because I did Google you guys. I know how much you make. Everybody will have my email address. No discounts, you can afford it.
So when you were practicing against Colin,
You're obviously from Britain.
of course, who was winning most of the time?
He was.
Okay, so he thought he was going to win.
He was favored to win. We actually went into the Olympics. We're best of friends. I just talked to him last week. Still the best of friends. He's also, I saw him say, like, he knew. Next year he went on to win the World Championships, set a world record, win 5 World Championships, like one of the best swimmer ever. But going in, I was quite satisfied from where I've been to be second. We're like, we're number 1, 2. He's the favorite. You're gonna win. I'm gonna come second. We go home, we're all happy. And that's why you were all cheering and applauding. But at the end of the race, first thing I did was turn around and go find Colin. I was like, 1, 2, what happened to you? So we spent that whole night together, and like, awesome guy. Like, I owe him anything. 7. He did what I did in 84. He almost fell coming off the last hurdle. Came 7th, yeah.
A question, Mark. When you false start, in tennis you take a little bit off your second serve. You can't do that in sprinting, can you?
Well, you have to actually. A little bit you do, because you can't go again. As a matter of fact, now the rules have changed. Back then, everybody's allowed 2 false starts. Then the rules changed to, okay, somebody has 1 false start, and then the next person is out. Now, no false starts. Guy who goes, this is what happened to Bolt in the World Championships a couple of years ago. False start. Fastest man in the world, he's out. Yeah. Which is good, because sprinters and hurdlers, we're always false starting, because we're all trying to get ahead of the other guy. And, yeah, but it could be 16 starts before the race goes. If you remember Atlanta, the Donovan one, the delay was like 15-20 minutes. Because Linford, the guy who I trained with as well, who won Barcelona and Christie from Britain, false started, and he didn't think it was a false start, he wouldn't leave the track.
Yeah.
So they stayed there, and they were trying to get him off the track. It was like 15-20 minutes. And, yeah.
Did you have your real estate license?
No, I gave that. It was like, I should have kept it. I don't make the kind of money you guys make. I actually did. I had a longer presentation. I thought, you know what, these guys are on vacation. But I Googled, like, as an athlete, in the top 1%. This was all about the 1%, all about you guys and where you are. We make nothing. 0. Like the best you make, I mean, you have some stipend from the government, but you might as well not have anything. If you move into the top 0.1%, which is an Olympic finalist, so you're top 8 on the planet, you go probably, I'm not sure if it's the same in rowing, but we have a track circuit in Europe, and track guys can actually make a living over there. But you can probably make about $30,000. You're in the top 8 on the planet. And then if you go to win, and not silver, win, you could probably make, well, there's about $300,000. Unless your name's Bolt. Bolt makes about $30 million as well. But as the best top athlete, and this doesn't even come close to what you guys make. I Googled it. So, yeah. Anybody? Jesus. Except for mustache. Most people, when I was actually down here last year, they say, you're Mexican.
Resistance, you could have been even faster.
Could have been. Back like that. Simple. Yeah, I will. I'll make sure that Christine gets it and she gets it. And you'll have, Frida, McKoy and Rogers. So it's easy to get hold of me. Do you want any advice? Yes, sir.
You gotta tell us what your podium experience, you gotta tell them what that's like.
Okay, there's a story in itself. There's always a story. What was yours like?
No, it's your video.
It did. It did. Where's the medal? Who stole it? The only reason I asked that is, okay, I trust you guys. I can afford it. If you look at the medal, there's a little dent in the bottom. You saw that? Okay. No, I didn't find it. Because that part's not gold. As you know, after a race, they take almost the whole field to do drug testing. Like, the only person faster than you on that track is the drug testing guys. So, there's like 5 guys, you can't go anywhere. You're not going anywhere until you clean that up. So, there's the top 3, and usually 2 others or 3 others from the final, each final, in this room. So it's a room like this full of athletes, and you know, they want to, you don't go to the medal ceremony until you compete, so they want to hurry up and get out of there. Now, Colin doesn't drink at all, and when I was staying at his house, we didn't drink at all the whole year, which is hard for me, but anyway. So there's no alcohol. We were in Barcelona, it was 40 degrees. I don't eat anything on the day that I compete, ever. And it was 9:20 at night. But I drink a lot of coffee. So I must have had 30, 40 cups of coffee. Gotta do something. I'll be by the time. So anyway, by the time you get there, it's 40 degrees, it's 9 o'clock at night. I don't drink water either. So I was dehydrated. They take you in this room, and what's the best thing to get somebody to pee? Beers. I had 12 beers in 30 minutes. Swear to God. I was sitting on the floor with Colin and Malcolm, and I was just lining them up. Malcolm was looking at me. So then I get up, go to the podium. I have no clue what it's like to come. I don't remember anything. True story. Now, if you want to know a real story, what it's like to be on the podium, ask Colin. True story. And I got off the podium and I took the thing off and I dropped it. That's why it's 16 years of training, I have no idea what it's like to be on the podium. I'm gonna have to do it all over again.
Let's get Mark McKoy.
Yeah.
Mark and I are now going to do a talk together. It's going to be in the form of a talk, interactive, and question and answer. And the name of this talk really is how to use health and wellness as a competitive advantage in business. Okay. Do I need to convince you that having optimal health is going to help you be better in everything? Does anyone here disagree with that? Raise your hand. Okay, great. Well, we have a real treat here because Mark happens to be one of the healthiest and fittest people on the planet. He works with a lot of executives, and I have www.personalcheerleader.com. So, what we're going to do is, I'm going to ask Mark a few questions, and then we're going to have you folks participate in this as well, okay? So this is going to be an interactive. So, Mark.
Sir.
These are busy people. These are successful people, right?
That I believe.
So, how can someone who's so focused on, having their game be in the top 1% still make health and wellness a priority? What is it that's going to help them get?
Do what we did this morning. The difference between this, I've been in a couple of groups. Obviously, I won't speak a lot, but I've been in a couple of groups, and none of the groups have been like this one. I mean, not just because you guys all showed up this morning. That was unbelievable. But you can tell that you're driven. And it's the simple things in life I find are the best. Just like the workout. That workout, people think, oh, that's, it's really simple. That was half of my program, stuff like that. And people think, you're lifting big weights and you have to go to the gym. And we have to do that if you want to, to be the absolute best in the world and excel in certain things. But the thing that drove me to being number one, keeping me in the sport so long is I was always fit. Passion, fitness was my passion, like from the time I was a kid. And I think that's the thing that got me the gold medal more than anything else, because whatever group I went to, I was always the fittest. I was never always the fastest or the strongest or definitely not the best technician. Like, my hurdles technique sucks. But I could always do the workouts because I was fit. And I always did push-ups in the morning, sit-ups in the morning, squats, push-ups at night. No matter what I did throughout the day, I'd always do my own stuff above and beyond what everybody else was doing. I was always the fittest. I've never been to a group that I wasn't, not maybe now I'm 50, but in my day, I've never been to a group that I wasn't the fittest guy in the group. And that was the thing that got me through all the workouts. That was the important thing, I think.
Dude, at 50, you're still the first guy. So listen, I'm going to ask you a question, okay? What can you do that you're currently not doing that would represent, as Mark said, taking your health and fitness up an inch as far as activity is concerned? Okay, this is interactive. I want you to stand up, so when you share, stand up, don't be seated. And tell me one thing you could do, okay? Who wants to share first?
Eat better, for sure.
Eat better? Okay, great. Keep standing. All right. Introduce yourself.
I'm Amy Flowers.
Hi, Amy Flowers. From?
Milton.
From Milton. Big hands, man. What's one thing you could do that would demonstrate eating better consistently? One thing.
To do to demonstrate it?
Yeah, to yourself. What's one way you could eat better?
Not putting the food into my mouth.
That's negative. Positive. What's something that would be better eating?
Eat like you did at breakfast this morning.
So like fruits and vegetables?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to double dog dare you, okay?
Okay.
Everyone in this room, sing. 1 second. I'll reach out to you in a second. Would you be willing to write down and sign your name, date and sign your name,
Yeah.
that you're going to have that be a part of your daily eating every day?
Sure. Yes.
Okay, do it now, and then wave it for all of us. All of you. It's a good example. Would you be willing to do something like that to say, hey, I'm going to put it down on paper and commit? Because when you write it out, it's like a contract. It's like a contract. You make it with everybody. Is there one thing you can do to take your health and fitness up 1 inch? Who else? Who's the lady? Yes.
I was surprised that
Name first. Name and where you're from.
Jillian,
From?
Oakville.
Wonderful.
I was surprised you're eating, drinking.